What's up guys, and welcome to a new video. This will be the final build guide for my Pure Summons Necromancer, and I gotta say this build actually turned out pretty strong. I did take it to level 100. I've killed all of the new bosses with this build. I did complete a tier 75 nightmare dungeon. That's the highest that I went to. Didn't really see a reason to go higher. There's not really incentive to do so. This build has great defenses. I mean, it's not the quickest or most hard-hitting build in the world, but it's decent, well-rounded, and just really fun to play overall. Maybe the most enjoyable build that I've played in Diablo 4 to date, and I've played quite a few of them. We will cover everything in this guide. There's going to be timestamps down below, so if you feel like jumping ahead, do that at any time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and hopefully you guys have fun with the build. I know I've gotten a lot of good feedback in the comments of the last video, so I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. And if this video ends up being helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. Alright, let's jump right into it. Alright, we'll briefly go over our skills used for the build. Up top for our basic skill, we use Reap. Basically, this generates a corpse, and it gives us a little bit of damage reduction. We use corpse tendrils to draw enemies in, stun them for 3 seconds, make them vulnerable. Just really nice to have. We use Decrepify. Decrepify slows enemies, and it also makes them do less damage. And because of the Paragon Board, we do more damage when we curse enemies, and because of the skill tree. For our ultimate skill, we use Army of the Dead. Because of one of our aspects, we get a ton of attack speed. And then also Army of the Dead just does a decent amount of damage, helps clear quite a bit. And then obviously we have Raised Skeleton and Golem, because we use skeletons and golems. Alright guys, we're going to go over the vampiric powers that we use in the build. Starting up top, we're going to go with Domination. You deal 24% multiplicative increased damage to enemies who are stunned, immobilized, frozen, or feared. We're always stunning enemies with our corpse tendrils, so you know that's a nice damage boost. Right here, guys, we want to get Prey on the Weak. You see right there, you deal 16% increased damage, and that's multiplicative to vulnerable enemies. We're always making enemies vulnerable because of our corpse tendrils, and because right there also you see enemies are vulnerable while affected by a vampiric curse from your other vampiric powers, which is pretty nice. Right here we're going to get Metamorphosis. I think pretty much everybody gets this on every build. You know, it makes you unstoppable, so you know pretty much this is viable for any build. When you evade or turn into a cloud of bats, becoming unstoppable for 4 seconds, enemies along your path take 5,700 to 8,600 damage, physical damage, and are inflicted with a vampiric curse. So you know, because of this, anytime that we go through enemies, we make them all vulnerable as well. Right here we want to get Covenant's Fang. You see right there your Conjuration, Companion, Minion, and Bat Familiar attacks deal 52%, and that's multiplicative increased damage to crowd controlled enemies. We're constantly, like, all the enemies are crowd controlled because of our curse, because of our corpse tendrils. You know, we're always crowd controlling, so that's a huge damage boost for our minions. And then on lucky hit, your Conjuration, Companion, and Minion skills have up to a 30% chance to inflict vampiric curse, which because of this over here is also making enemies vulnerable. And then last but not least, we're going to get Anticipation. Your ultimate skills gain 20% cooldown reduction. You know, we have a 70-second cooldown on Army of the Dead, so that's really nice. It bumps us down to like 50-something seconds. Now we'll cover the gear and aspects used, starting off at the helm up here. Basically, you just want to get yourself a helm like this, you know, as high as defense as you possibly can. Now, real quick, when it comes to the gear, guys, you want to cap your resistances. As you can see right here, I have all my resistances capped, and you want to get as much armor as possible. If you hover over the armor right there, you can see reduces physical damage taken from enemies of equal level by 92%. You can get up to 100%. If I hit around 10k or a little bit over, I'd have 100% physical damage reduction against enemies my level. And you want to try to get to that 100%. I'm at 92, which isn't too bad. But you definitely want to get resistances capped on all of your gear that you have to, so you know, get that first. The next best stat that I would say with this, I wouldn't really worry about minion damage on any of your gear. It doesn't really give you that much overall in the grand scheme of things. You definitely want to try to get total armor on any pieces of gear you can. You can see right there I have 24% total armor. You want to get total armor in as many pieces of gear as you can. Damage reduction, life. You can see right here I have the Blood Getters aspect. Your maximum number of skeleton warriors is increased by 2. Obviously, you know, we're a summoner. We want to have as many skeletons as we possibly can. Into the body armor, as you can see right there, I have total armor again, resistances, maximum life, And then we use the Coldbringer's aspect. Every 8 seconds, your skeletal mages can cast a blizzard that deals a certain amount of damage and chills enemies for 8% over 6 seconds. You know, chill is a form of crowd control. It slows the enemies down. It's really nice to have that aspect. I actually like that quite a bit. All right, when it comes to the gloves, guys, basically, you know, intelligence translates into damage for the Necromancer. There is no plus to skills for minions, so you're not going to get that on the gloves, but you want to try to get like intelligence like I have, attack speed, crit strike chance, you know, the lucky hit chance, you know, dexterity, whatever you can find good stats on your gloves. On the gloves, I have the unyielding aspect. As you can see right there, while Army of the Dead is active, your minions gain 100% attack speed and take 90% reduced damage. And, you know, that, I think the Army of the Dead is active for like 6 or 7 seconds, and that your minions just go crazy during that time. So it's really nice to have that aspect. Alright guys, now into the pants. You can see right here I'm using Temerity. Temerity is actually awesome for this build. It has some decent stats on it. The reason that we're using it though is because, you know, I got a really nice roll right there. You can see effects that heal you beyond 100% life, grant you a barrier up to 80% of your maximum life that lasts for 8 seconds. And also you see right there, potions can be used while at full life. So basically you can get your barrier with potions also. So I get 80% over my maximum life of my maximum life. So effectively I have about a 25,000 life pool. And, you know, that barrier is up like 98% of the time. I mean, when you go into a boss fight, it can go away, but you just hit a potion and it'll be right back up. So it's really nice to have. And it makes this build just super tanky with the maximum resistances, you know, really good armor, and these pants on 25k effective health pool. Just, I mean, this build is really tanky. It's awesome. Down here into the boots. On the boots, you know, Necromancer is one of the slowest builds movement-wise, so you want to definitely get movement speed. Dexterity is good. Intelligence is good. Get your resistances that you need. Damage reduction. You can get pluses to corpse tendrils on there, like up to 3. You can see right there for the aspect, we have Ghostwalker. While unstoppable and for 4 seconds after, you gain 25% increased movement speed and can move freely through enemies. And that's just really nice because we're always unstoppable because of our new vampiric power. As you can see right here, Metamorphosis, you know, this gives us, anytime we evade, we become unstoppable for 4 seconds. Go back into the boots while unstoppable and for 4 seconds even after that. So for a total of 8 seconds, we're unstoppable, and we can pretty much always be unstoppable because you can see right here that our evade, well, you don't see it, right? Oh, here we go. Our evade has a 6-second cooldown, you know, so, and we're unstoppable for 8 seconds. So it's just awesome. With this aspect, we're constantly unstoppable and we can basically move freely through monsters. So, you know, we're never getting caught up on monsters or anything like that. It's pretty nice. Down into your weapon. Now, I have pretty much the best weapon that you can get for this build right here. I got this from Duriel. You know, it has the 925 item power, and then I upgraded it, so it's at 950. That's the max that you can get this season. The reason that you want to go with Scythe, guys, is because you can see right there, it says, you know, damage per second, and then below that, the damage per hit. Scythes have the most damage per hit, you know, as far as two-handers go, and that's where your minions will get their damage from. So you definitely want to go with Scythe. Try to get as high item level as you possibly can. And then also, like I said, the Scythe gives you life on kill, which is really nice. You want to try to go with all stats and get the intelligence. Those are really nice boosts. They help you in your Paragon Board to meet requirements, and they give a lot of damage and other good things to your build. I have basic skill damage and damage to shadow damage over time. I could have got better things right there, like vulnerable damage or critical strike damage, stuff like that. Unfortunately, this is the best that I found with this high of a base damage weapon at 925 item power. So right there for the aspect, we have reanimation. That's a really important one, and you want to make sure to put this on your two-hander so you get 100% more effect out of it. Your minions gain increased damage while alive up to 76%, and that's 76%, and that's multiplicative. You see the little X right there after 10 seconds, and our minions basically never die. Like when I was pushing like 70 plus nightmare dungeons, once in a while a skeleton might die, but usually not. So, you know, they always have that bonus. That's a huge damage bonus for your minions. All right, over here into the amulet, guys. Now, like I said earlier, this build is a Necromancer. They're kind of slow movement-wise. You want to get movement speed on there. The number one stat you want to try to also look for on there is minion attack speed. Your minions are going to get the most damage from more attack speed. The more they attack, the more damage they're putting out. But try to get minion attack speed. You can see on there I also have 25% total armor, which is really nice. And then I have the damage for 4 seconds after killing an elite. Not really big deal. Whatever other damage you can find. Just get the best things you can on your amulet. I changed it around a bit. I put the aspect of the minion onto the amulet so that I would get 3 skeletal mages. Aside from the golem, mages are our second strongest summons. So we want to put that on there for sure. Real quick, guys, when it comes to the jewels, into your helmet, your pants, and your armor, you want to get the rubies for maximum life. And then over here, just cap your resistances with whatever you need to put in. Down into the ring. So on the first ring right here, we have critical strike chance. Definitely want to try to get that if you can on both rings. Try to get as high item power as you can on your rings so that you get as much resistances out of them as you can. Look for critical strike damage, vulnerable damage. You can get minion life. You know, there's damage to distant enemies. Whatever good damages you can get on your rings. And then, you know, for the aspect right here, you can see we have the conceited aspect. Deal 20%, and that's multiplicative, increased damage while you have a barrier up. This goes right here with our temerity pants. Because of temerity pants, we have a barrier up pretty much 24/7. It synergizes really nice with the temerity. Huge boost to our damage. In the second ring, I have critical strike damage, vulnerable damage, damage to close, maximum life. That's a good thing you get on your rings also. Another important aspect right here on the ring. You want to get the aspect of the Frenzied Dead. You can see right there, each time one of your summoning minions damages an enemy, they gain 14% attack speed for 3 seconds, up to 42%. And, you know, that's pretty much always up because they're just constantly attacking. So they're at 42% increased attack speed. Now, real quick, guys, if you do not have the temerity pants, this is what I used. I didn't find these pants until, I want to say, like late 80s level-wise. Up until then, I was using these. Just get yourself a pair of pants like these guys. You know, have maximum minion life on there, or you can get maximum armor, which would be nice. Get whatever resistances you need, life, damage reduction rolls. And then also for the aspect on there, if you're not running temerity, you want to go with the aspect of the protector. You know, damaging an elite basically grants you a barrier for 10 seconds, and that can happen every 30 seconds. You know, just more defensive. Alright guys, now we'll go ahead and go into the Book of the Dead. We'll go over our summons. There has been a little bit that's changed. We'll go ahead and go over that. Right here, we want to go with the Reapers. You want to choose this right here. Reapers have a 15% chance to carve the flesh off enemies, forming a corpse. We want to have as many corpses as possible. They're constantly forming corpses for us, which is nice. And, you know, they do a decent amount of damage, and they have, you know, pretty good radius. Now, for the mages, before we were going with the cold mages, we no longer use the cold mages. We want to go with the shadow mages. Overall, they do the most damage. Especially with this right here, you can see shadow mages fire an additional shadow bolt every 4th attack. And I have done testing. I've used all the mages. I even used the bone mages down here with this right here, where they get a 40% multiplicative increase to damage after being alive. But the problem is they just die off too quick, and I don't want to deal with them. And it's really not that much more damage. So I would say go ahead and stick with the shadow mages up here. They've been great. They do really good single target damage. And then get this right here to where they, you know, fire an additional shadow bolt every 4th attack. When it comes to the golem, before we were using the iron golem, and we were using this right here to make enemies vulnerable. Now with the iron golem, you can, you know, press their button and they'll do a slam attack, which was nice. I just figured out that the bone golem does really good damage, and it has a way bigger area of effect. The iron golem just attacks kind of slow and doesn't have any area of effect. The bone golem just smashes through things and takes out packs of enemies with ease. So, you know, by far, we definitely want to go with the bone golem. And then right here, you want to get this. Each time your bone golem takes up to 20% of his maximum life, sheds a corpse. You know, there's another way we generate corpses. We want to generate corpses as often as possible, you know, especially like on bosses and stuff like that, when there's no enemies around them or whatever the case may be. That way we can cast corpse tendrils or do whatever we need to do with those corpses. And then also, guys, you can see right here, what's really nice about the bone golem is you can hit the button for the bone golem, and you can see right there a horde protector that taunts enemies, forcing them to attack the golem. It does like this war cry, and it makes all the enemies around the golem come after the golem. So, you know, that helps a lot if you're like in a sticky situation or you want to get the enemies off you. You just hit the button and boom, they'll all go after the golem. Alright guys, we'll briefly go over the skill tree now. I don't think anything has changed from the skill tree. Up here we're going to take Reap. You know, it generates a corpse, gives us a little bit of damage reduction. Take it back into Acolytes. We don't take any core skills, but we do grab Hewed Flesh. On lucky hit, we can create corpses, and the chance is doubled on bosses. We're going to come down here to the Corpse of Macabre. You want to get Skeleton Warrior Mastery maxed out, damage and life for your Skeleton Warriors. 1 into Grim Harvest so that we can come down here to Fueled by Death. You deal 9% increased damage for 6 seconds after consuming a corpse. When we're hitting the button to cast Skeleton Mages and Skeleton Warriors, it's making the Priest come up and heal our minions and making them do more damage. And every time that you do that, that counts as consuming a corpse. So, you know, you're constantly getting this buff to your damage. We're going to come down here into the curses. We want to take Amplify Damage, 12% multiplicative increased damage to curse enemies. And that goes for your minions as well. And then we want to get Decrepify back here into Aberrant. Basically, like we talked about, Decrepify slows enemies and makes them do less damage. With the way that the skill points work out, we're just going to put 2 into that. Then you want to go ahead and also grab Skeleton Mage Mastery for damage and life to your Skeleton Mages. Down into the Corpse of Macabre, we want to max out Corpse Tendrils so it gives it the lowest cooldown as possible. Back here into Enhanced and over into Plagued. Basically, Corpse Tendrils stuns enemies, sucks them all into a group, and then if you go back here into Plagued Corpse Tendrils, it makes them all vulnerable. We're also going to grab Necrotic Care Space. When a corpse is formed from your skills or your minions, fortify for 6% of your maximum life. Now, not only do we have pretty much with Temerity a 25k health pool, which is awesome, but because of this, fortify is up most of the time as well. And anytime the fortify is up, you have 10% reduced damage that you take overall. So we definitely want to get that. Come down here into our ultimate skill, guys. Right here, we're going to get Golem Mastery for life and damage on our Golem. We're here into Army of Darkness, all the way back to Supreme Army of Darkness. Over here, we're going to get Inspiring Leader. After you've been healthy for at least 2 seconds, basically, you and your minions get more attack speed. Hellbent Commander, your minions deal increased damage when you're close to them. Bonded in Essence, and you're going to max all of these out in the little minion skill tree. Every 8 seconds, your Skeletal Priest healing will heal your skeletons for an additional 60% of their life. And then Death's Defense, your minions gain 12% increased armor, 24% increased resistance to all elements. I think that the minions right now have 67% all resist. They're almost capped, which is pretty nice. And your minions rarely die unless you go into like really high nightmare dungeons. And then you'll only lose like a skeleton here and there. And that was in the 70s, so. Down here for our key passive, guys, we're going to come over into Kalan's Edict. After you have not taken damage in the last 2 seconds, your minions gain 15% attack speed. Well, you have at least 7 minions. This bonus is doubled, which we have, 7 minions, so. Alright guys, we will go ahead and jump into the Paragon board now. Just so you know, there will be a link down below for this build if you want to go ahead and check it out that way on Mobilytics. Alright, so on the starter board, we're going to come up here, we're going to grab Prime for damage and life. We're going to come up here in this glyph socket, we're going to put Warrior. You can see right there, basically it gives our Skeletal Warriors increased damage. Meet the additional requirement. All your minions get 30% increased armor, which is really nice. You do, real quick, you want to take all of your glyphs at least to level 15. All of the ones that I'm using are all level 15. And when you get your glyph to level 15, you get the bigger radius on it. So you definitely want to do that. Alright, now we'll come over here. You want to come up and grab Knowledge for damage and intelligence. You're going to grab Preservation for armor and intelligence. Now we're going to come up this way, guys. The next board that we will come into is the Cult Leader board. As you can see right there, your minions deal 15%, and that's multiplicative, increased damage for each minion type you have active. This only applies to the minion type Skeletal Warrior, Mage, Golem. So basically we get 45% multiplicative damage by having this node right here. But we're going to come up this way. First, we're going to come over here to Infuse Warrior. Increased damage for our Skeleton Warriors and armor. Grab these over here. We're going to come over here. We're going to grab Puppeteer for minion damage and attack speed. We're going to grab all these blue nodes around here for more damage and attack speed. As you can see, we came down here to Cult Leader. You definitely want to get that huge boost. We're going to come over this way. We're going to grab Infuse Caster for more damage for our Skeletal Mages. And then 8% minion resistance to all elements. And grab all the blue around here for damage and resistance. Next, we're going to come over here for this glyph socket, guys. We're going to put Dead Razor. Paragon nodes within range gain 76% bonus to their minion damage and damage reduction modifiers. Real quick, also, guys, all of my things are only level 15. You can get them all to 21. You'll get even more damage out of this build with this setup. But yeah, you want to put Dead Razor right here, get it to level 15, and then you just want to meet the minimum requirement of 40 intelligence right there, because you can see right there, whenever your minions deal damage to an enemy, the enemy takes 1% increased damage, and that's multiplicative from you and your minions up to 12%. So that's pretty nice. We're going to come over here into custody. 35.2% damage reduction for your minions and intelligence. I'm going to grab these around here for more damage reduction for your minions. We're going to come up here, grab Overlord for more minion damage and intelligence. Grab these ones around here for more minion damage. All right, from here, guys, we're going to want to come over this way, right here. We're going to grab on the Senna Death board right here. Obviously, we're going to get Senna Death. With at least 2 corpses nearby, you gain 15% damage reduction. With no corpses nearby, you deal 15% increased damage, and that's multiplicative. Really nice to have. You're going to want to go up here and grab Ruin for damage to healthy and crit strike chance. And then grab this crit strike chance right here. In the glyph socket right here, we're going to put the Golem glyph. Gives us a ton of damage. We also have this at level 15 as well. Right there, you can see 171.1% Golem damage, which is really nice. And there's a ton of willpower and radius right here. And then you obviously you're going to meet the additional bonus, more life for your Golem. You want to come up here and get Death Marked, damage to injured enemies, intelligence. You want to come down here and all the way down and grab this for more armor and intelligence. Alright guys, from here, the next board that we're going to want to actually go into, we will go into this board, but not yet. The next board after that you're going to want to come into is going to be this board over here. It's going to be the Hulking Monstrosity board. You can see right there your Golem has 40% increased maximum life, and that's multiplicative, and deals 100% multiplicative increased damage. Huge for the Golem. So that's the next board that you're going to want to come into, guys. You're going to come up here first, grab Flesh Horror for Golem armor and maximum resistance for the minions. We're going to come over here, or actually after that, you're going to first want to come up, grab a Hulking Monstrosity. Definitely want to get that for our Golem. Come down here, grab Infused Golem, 50% Golem damage and more Golem life, and grab these ones right here. Then you're going to want to come up this way, guys. We'll grab Miscreation for armor, intelligence, and Skeletal Mage damage. We're going to come right here in this glyph socket. We're going to put Mage. Definitely want to get that to level 15 for the big radius. There's a ton of intelligence right here. There's 70 in range. So this gives us a lot of damage to our mages. They get 147%. You'll meet the additional bonus, which is really nice for all of our minions. They get 35% to all resistances. You're going to want to then come over, grab Frenzied Golem, 50% Golem damage, and a ton of attack speed for your Golem in this area. Grab all of these blue nodes over here. We'll want to come over here, guys. 20% damage while Golems are active, but also we get % total armor. So you want to get all of this around here. That helps your character a lot for your survivability. Alright guys, so this will be the final board that we come into. You can see right here, it's the Flesh Eater board. You may ask, why aren't we using Flesh Eater? You know, consume 5 corpses, grants 40% multiplicative increased damage. Well, the reason that we're not, and which that is a nice damage boost, but the reason that we're not is, it's kind of a pain in the butt to cast those 5 corpses, and you know, only lasts for 6 seconds, and then it resets. It's not like you can keep, you know, get the buff up, keep hitting corpses, and have that buff the entire time, every time it resets. So I just don't even want to bother with that. But we come into this board last, guys. We're going to come over this way. Right here in the glyph socket, we're going to grab Control. Now you can see right there, you know, we obviously get damage to crowd controlled, but the additional bonus is nice too. You and your minions deal 10% multiplicative increased damage to slowed or chilled enemies, which all of our enemies are slowed because of our curse, and they're chilled most of the time. And then instead deal 20% multiplicative increased damage to stunned or frozen. Anytime we use corpse tendrils, enemies are stunned. That's a huge boost right there. That helps a lot to mow those enemies down because of corpse tendrils. And then there's, you know, a lot of intelligence and range. We could have got even 10 more. As you see, we're at 60. There actually is 70, but we didn't have the points for those. Nice little damage boost right here. We definitely want to grab Erudite, and you get all resistances and damage to crowd controlled. And then also we get targeted down here for 32% damage to elites and 10% intelligence, which is really nice as well. Alright guys, so hopefully this video has been helpful. There will be gameplay right here at the end if you want to check that out. Nightmare Dungeon gameplay. If this video was helpful though, guys, don't forget to leave me a like and go to the channel, subscribe, guys, and then leave me a comment down below. Let me know how the build's been for you, how you enjoy it, what you would change, what you're using this season. You know, just leave me a comment down below, guys. I really appreciate it. Anyways, thanks for watching.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Bless you.
I'm not ready yet. I need more time. I'm not ready yet. I need more time.